When I first started as a freelance web designer about 4 years ago, I was selling most of my websites for anywhere between $500 and $2,000. Now, my project minimum is about $10,000, and my biggest website that I've ever sold was worth $75,000. So in this video, I want to talk to you about the difference between a $2,000 website and a $75,000 website, and what you can do to start selling more of these big websites and getting away from these smaller projects. So let's get into it. Welcome back to another video. Now, before we dive into the content of this video, I'm curious to see what is the most you have ever charged for a website. So drop that down below in the comments. Now, I want to talk to you about the difference between a $2,000 website and a $75,000 website. And there is more to it than just a difference in price, right? Now, obviously, the $75,000 website is probably going to be bigger, it's going to be more complex, and this smaller $2,000 site is going to be a lot simpler. But there's still more that goes into it, and I want to help you see what it's going to take for you to start selling more of these big ones and less of the small ones. So, the first and most obvious is the size and the scale and the scope of this project, right? So if somebody comes to you and says, I need a 2-page website, you're probably going to be more in that $2,000 range. If somebody says, okay, Payton, I need a 300-page website that has a massive blog and resource page that houses all of our content, we need to list a ton of different products or whatever it is that they need, this massive website is going to take way longer, it's going to take way more resources, and so we're going to have to charge accordingly because of that. The other thing that we need to take into account is how much attention these projects are going to take, because the more attention I have to put on a project, it's taking away my attention and my time. It's taking that away from my other projects, and so I need to make up for that in the pricing. And so these bigger projects are going to require a lot more of your attention. Don't forget to charge for that, because in the long run, you're going to lose money if you don't take into account the time and work that you're taking away from your other projects. Now, the next thing to consider is the size of the company. Now, this might seem obvious as well, but it's going to be really hard to sell a $75,000 website to the brand new cupcake startup down the street from you. That's just probably not going to happen. They don't have the budget for it. So they're going to be more in this realm of a $2,000 website. So what this means is if you want to sell bigger websites, you need to work up to the point where you are getting in contact or getting referred or finding some way to reach these bigger companies that have big budgets. The crazy thing is, when I sold this $75,000 website, the company was so big and had such a big budget that it was easier for them to make that decision than it was for a lot of my local client or local business clients to make a $3,000 decision on a website. So while it might seem like a lot more to you and I, it's actually a much easier decision for these bigger companies to make. And so as you grow your business, it's going to be highly beneficial to you to start increasing the size of companies that you're working with. Now, the next thing to consider when thinking about the difference between a $2,000 and a $75,000 website is the problems that you're solving. I'm going to use the example again of a cupcake shop, because if the only problem you're solving is to give them a cute website that gives them a little bit of a presence, that's not a huge problem that you're solving. And so people aren't going to pay a whole lot for that. Now, on the reverse side, let's just take a website like Apple, right? The problems they're solving is not only are they selling millions and billions of dollars probably of products from their website, but they're educating, and that's where people go to get support. And so you're saving a ton of money for Apple by doing a good job on this website. And so you can see the difference between problem solved and the financial benefit of this huge website that's accomplishing so many different things and solving so many different problems, whether that's driving revenue, saving time, saving money for the company, acting as a knowledge base for their customers. Whatever it is that problem might be that needs solved, you need to really focus in on that. And the more problems that you can solve for a client, the more you can charge for that website. The next thing, and probably the most important thing for us to talk about next, is the perceived value of a website. Now, this is basically setting aside all things, right? We're setting aside scope and scale and problems and everything else. The perceived value is essentially what your client sees this website being valued as. And so a lot of times clients are going to come in with a lower expectation of the value of a website. This is why most of the time clients come to us and they say, I need a website, but I don't want to spend more than $1,000. The reason that they're doing this is because in their mind, a website is not worth more than $1,000. And so it's our job as a designer and a salesperson to help increase that perceived value or show them that a website is worth much more than $1,000. Now, different clients are going to come into a sales conversation with a different perceived value. Now, this can depend a lot on the size of the company. For example, the company that I sold that big website to, their perceived value of a website was much, much higher because they had bought expensive websites before and they knew the value that would come with a good website. But most of the time, they're going to undervalue a website. They're going to undervalue your services. And so it's your job to show them everything that goes into a site. So you want to explain to them all of the work and expertise and time and focus that goes into building a site. But then you also want to bring in the problems that it's going to solve and how much money it's going to make them and the different parts of this website that are going to drive revenue and exposure for them. Because as you do that, when they used to think that this website was worth just $1,000, now they start to think, oh wow, this is a lot more work than I thought, and the benefits of a website are much more than I had anticipated, and so maybe this is worth $5,000 or $10,000. And so we can adjust that perceived value by doing a great job of showing them that there is value beyond just design. So that's the last thing that I want to cover with you, is how we sell the value of our websites. And I think this is probably the biggest struggle that most freelancers have, is they're afraid to oversell their websites. They're afraid to promise any results. They're afraid to basically sell more than just design. And if all you're doing is selling design, there's nothing unique, there's no perceived value, people are always going to undercharge for that. And so you need to change your perspective and say, what is this website doing for their company? Where is the value? How is this going to save them time, make them more money, make their life easier, help them spend more time with their family? Whatever it might be, you need to show them this and show them that this website is worth much more than they anticipated, but it's going to be worth it. And if you can become a master salesperson, you're going to be able to charge these ridiculously large amounts of money, and it's going to make sense to these prospects, and they're going to be willing to pay it. So if you found any value in this video, or if you're feeling any more encouraged to charge more for your websites, please be sure to hit that like button down below. That helps me know that this is the type of content that you like. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.